Hello punters and welcome back to another Saturday Racing preview. Of course, this video looking at the Randwick meeting tomorrow, the Bondi Stakes, the $1 million race for the 3-year-olds, the feature of the program. So we're looking to get into that, obviously a 9-race program. If you haven't already done so, go and check out my Moonee Valley Cox Plate race day preview and tips. Obviously, I've just done that video prior to this a couple of hours ago, so you can go and check that one out if you haven't already done so. If you are new here and it's your first time watching me on this video, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. Obviously, any of you that have subscribed already as well, click the notification bell. You won't miss any of my videos when I upload them. So you can always make sure you get on them and watch them before the racing tomorrow. So, and also like the video, comment down below as well. What do you like in the Bondi Stakes? What do you like for the whole meeting? Let me know down below. And if you've got any feedback or any sort of comment, it's obviously your forum. You can do whatever you like. And always, as it's a great sport, racing, because it can create plenty of discussion. So I enjoy that side of things and that aspect of things. So make sure you do that if you feel, if you so wish. And also go and check out my social media channels, _racing tips on Instagram and Sealand Race Tips on Facebook, where I'll be posting all these tips plus Quaddie Selections. But then I'll also be doing tips for around the tracks tomorrow, which is going to be Doomben, Ascot, and also Morphettville tomorrow. So I'll be posting up and probably do a couple at Kemba Grange and Yarra Valley potentially as well. So if you want to check out a few more tips from me for tomorrow, go and follow me on social media. So yeah, you can go and do that. If you are new, like I said, this is a video where I go through the program. Each race, look at it, basically try and break it down, give all the chances, then I give my top 4 selections for each race. I'll be having my best bets and best value bets at the end of the program, and my Quaddie Selections down below in the description. So without any further ado, you're going to get stuck straight to this 9-race program at Randwick tomorrow. At the moment, a good 4. I reckon that's going to hold up, and we should be seeing quite a it's an interesting race meeting tomorrow. It's nothing special, but there is a couple of real nice races, some good bets that I think at nice prices that we can have, because just a little bit of a heads up. You don't have to listen to this part, but in my Moonee Valley thing, I didn't go the whole lot of value because I do think that tomorrow will be a good punters day at the Valley. It looks really well set up. It looks Valley sort of a few key chances. The Quaddie legs looks to be a little bit more difficult, but I do think that early on in the program there's a lot of horses at decent prices that could be really I guess get you off to a real good start to the day. And whereas I do think at Randwick there'll be a few more longer price horses that might be getting up in some of these. So that's a bit of an insight to the program ahead. But race number 1 over the 1,000 metres for the 2-year-olds on debut, except for Total Baby's already had the first up run. At 12.50 is going to be the start of the Randwick races tomorrow. Obviously, Total Baby will roll towards the front, as we know. We saw that first up. Look, as for other horses that'll probably roll forward, I'd suggest that Serta, the Gay Waterhouse Adrian Bott horse, will probably be up towards the speed. Look, I also think that other horses that I think Jumbo Gold from the inside barrier probably looked to get prominent. Obviously, in its offer, it was in its trial, it did look like it had a bit off, but it was just sort of sitting in behind the speed, and I think that that horse will be able to run on nicely. I don't know if it'll lead them up, but it'll definitely be prominent in the run. I'd suggest that also another horse that I think will roll forward is probably the 11 Socialist, the Eustace horse. I think this horse might look to get forward from that outside barrier as well. So, look, it's always a bit of a query. You can see them in the trials. Some of them lead, some go back in the field, but it doesn't always pan out that way on race day. So it is always a little bit tough. So for me, I just like to go the best 2-year-old in the race from what I've seen, and then also the one that I think is going to get the best run. And I do think it's hard to go past Total Baby. I can't really understand how it's $4.60. I mean, it's already had the first up run, and it was a really good first up run as well behind Enthar and Mallory. Obviously, Enthar's an absolute star. I can't wait to see her return to the track. That was a phenomenal debut win by her. But look, I thought Total Baby was really good. She set on the speed there, really gave a good sight, just got overcome by a very good horse. But in terms of the rest of the field, she really held them off well and beat them home nicely. There's no Enthar in this field, so I think she should be able to definitely go 1 or 2 better this time around. So she goes on top for me, ahead of number 10, Muramura, who's obviously the favourite. Has been pretty well back, $650,000 horse. This one was not cheap and has looked to show a fair bit of ability at its trial. I really liked that trial at Warwick Farm. It won really nicely. It was a pretty soft win as well. So I think it had plenty more to offer, and I'd really like that horse going forward. So it goes for second. In for third, I do have number 8, Serta, the Gay Waterhouse Adrian Bott horse. I think this This very 2-year-old filly out of obviously by Snitzel and out of Comprende looks to just get a perfect run of the race in behind the speed. So I think that if it doesn't take up the lead, it should be right in behind the stablemate Total Babe and should be running on pretty nicely. And the other horse that I don't mind in the race as well is number 7, Camino Real. I think this horse, I actually think it's got a better chance than the Tanzimata. I like that it's much better drawn than the stablemate, and 13 to 1 looks a pretty good price to me. The 2 trials haven't been too bad, I thought. I thought that, especially its first up trial, what was quite nice. It was beaten home by the stablemate Tanzimate, but I didn't mind the run. I thought it was a decent trial and looks bred to have a really good first up run here. So recap the numbers for me. Look, I am keen to go with number 5, Total Babe on top. Head of number 10, Muramura in for second. In for third, I've got number 8, Serta. And then for fourth, I do have number 7, Camino Real. And also, I do want to make note, obviously, Jumbo Goal has been smashed in the bang. It opened up at 20 to 1, now 550. Inside Barrier looks to get a really good run of the race as well. If I'm going to be having an extra one in, that would be my other pick. I could definitely make a play for it if any of you guys out there are keen on it. Obviously, market move is a good sign, but I also thought that the trial was quite good from it, so I was surprised it was that price. It looks like the punters have found it nicely, so it also has a bit of a chance in the first on the program. Second race, 1800 meter tab highway race over the 1800 meters. So I think that this race here will probably just be a run at a genuine tempo. I don't think we're going to have anything too flash. I think Will to Succeed will lead them up. Rent Rock won't be far away, and Lovely Quietly probably just try to look to just quite slowly roll across from that outside barrier and find into a prominent roll. I think Liardo probably won't be too far off either, but I don't really see a lot of speed in this. So some of the well-fancied runners in the race, which are the favourites, will be back in the field and be needing to run on from the back there. Yeah, so look, in the highway, I'm keen to go with number 2, Prince of Aragon, dropping back in grade for this race here. I think it's got a really good chance. It was in terrific form till its last start over the 2400 metres at Randwick on the Kensington tracks, beaten by Frenzied. Not a bad idea there. Was well back in the field on that occasion. It was pretty well backed, though. Look, I do think that prior to that as well, it did beat Frenzied the start prior to benchmark 72 over the 2200. And then finished a second behind Frenzied as well at Wyong. So plenty of different sort of intertwining form lines there between Prince of Aragon and Frenzy, and I think that that's a really strong form line to bring into a highway race. Back to 800 metres, I think, will suit nicely, so it goes on top for me. Number 2, Prince of Aragon. In for second, I've gone with number 9, Eva's Deal. I think this horse has got can run well here. Obviously, the daughter of Dundeel is going to really appreciate stepping out in trip. Last start second at Canamble over the 600 metres, but I do think that this step up in distance to the 800 metres will suit nicely. Obviously, has been pretty good in its career so far to date, and especially on good tracks as well. So looks like we'll get that tomorrow. I think this horse will be well in the finish at $9. Looks to, if it just can get a decent enough position from barrier number 14, I think it's got a good enough chance at the each way odds. I think Liardo can run well as here, so I've got it in for third. And then the other one that I didn't mind was number 11, Cosmic Haze. And then Renter Rock was the other one that I also thought had some claims, but that's my fifth pick. So recap the numbers for me, pretty simple. I just think that number 2, Prince Aragon, seemingly is the best bet in this race for me. I find it really hard to beat, so it goes on top. And number 9, Eva's Deal in for second. In for third, I've got number 13, Liardo. Then in for fourth, I've got number 11, Cosmic Haze. Moving on into race number 3 on the program now, we've got the Brian Crowley Stakes over the 1200 metres. Pretty nice race here, only a small field of 7, but looks to be quite competitive. And look at the speed map here. I'd suggest that Ocean Emperor and Private Cheetah will be rolling forward. The Bopper probably won't be too far off the pace either. Might even look to take them on. So it'll be interesting to see how those three battle it out early, and obviously we'll set up the pace for the race and we'll be able to see exactly where runners better come from. If they're obviously going at a hard tempo, you could probably give a good case to some in the back of the field, but then also there's a good chance that someone like Private Cheetah might be able to spring across in front of them and drop the anchor a little bit, and those horses like Ocean Emperor and the Bopper might just sort of take the foot off and sit just in behind it. So really interesting race. It all will come down to tactics, as it always does in small fields. But look, I'm very keen on number 1 Destination here. I just thought this horse was terrific last start, finishing second behind Wild Ruler. Obviously, I think that's the best form line for this type of race here. That was back on the 26th of September, and Wild Rules obviously since come out, won very impressively, winning the Roman Console. So, look, I think that that's the right form line to bring in this. I know that there's a couple others in this race that also have similar tie-ins with that form. But I just think that yeah, Destination looks quite hard to beat. Just might need a little bit of luck from barrier number 2, but if it can get it, Rage King's in flying form. I think that this horse can be getting over the top of him and should be hard to beat. So it goes on top for me. And number 7, Ballistic Lover, who I do think's over the odds here. This horse is really starting to build this preparation. Her first 2 starts of this preparation have been terrific. She's been excellent in both of them. I was really impressed with her last start win at Warwick Farm. She beat Malkovich on that occasion. He came out and won nicely as a odds-on favourite yesterday at Hawkesbury. So form has been franked there with Ballistic Lover, and I just think this horse can run a good race again. Looks to get a really good run from that barrier draw, so it looks a bit over the odds at the $9.50. On the lead, goes in for third. I think this horse really, as well, looks quite nice. This horse obviously ran in the Roman Console, second behind Wild Rules, a similar form line with Destination, so probably could argue there's probably not a whole lot between the two, and I think that while on the lead can run a good race also, so it goes into third. Then in for fourth, I have looked at number 3, the Bopper. I thought this horse has always been talked about quite highly from Chris Lees' yard, but and obviously first up it came out at the $1.60. He was beaten by a very tough Black Magnum, and that horse is obviously very, very good. It's particularly good at Canterbury at the track, and I remember that it was just really rock hard fit that beat the Bopper in the end, and the Bopper would derive a lot of benefit from that first up run. I think it'd be right in the finish once again, so it goes in for fourth. But look, it really is an open race. I could easily make case for Ocean Emperor. It obviously won really nicely first up at Wyong. Probably needs to lift a little bit off of that effort, but the debut win last preparation was really solid as well. So could say that horse could run well. Tommy Gold obviously ran in some decent races last preparation. Comes in this first up. You never know what a colt can produce as a three-year-old coming back for the first preparation. So look, he could run a really good race here first up, and he did obviously his recent trial in the one that he finished third at Randwick over the 1,050 was really solid, and Private Cheaty could even make a case for it if it can spear across the outside barrier and look to dictate the terms. So it's a very wide race, but I have gone on Destination just because I think that the way that I see the race panning out, I think it's going to work out perfectly for Destination. If it just gets that touch of luck, it'll win. So it goes on top for me, ahead of number 7, Ballistic Lover, in for second. In for third, number 2 on the lead. Then in for fourth, number 3, the Bopper. Moving on to race number 4 in the program now, we got the Randwick Lodge Filante Handicap over the 1,400 metres. Again, only 8 horses to contest the field, but a nice little competitive race here. I think that Cuba and Archidemus will be the 2 that lead them up here. Spencer and Royal Celebration will probably sit in behind the 2 leaders, and then the likes of Akari from the inside barrier might pop up, be that sort of 2 pairs back on the inside running rail, and Duke Valentino and Brownie, a bit of a tricky barrier fifth, but I think that it and Creaderis will probably go towards the back now. I have gone against the odds on favourite. I know I did this last time as well and ended up winning, but I went against it the time before and it came third. So just for me, there's something. Obviously, this horse was really good last start. I mean, that was a real impressive win at Randwick over the 400 metres. Beat Zakat on that occasion, and look, only just got there, just by the narrowest margins. And I do think it can do it again. I just think $1.90 is a bit short for me because I just can make a good case for a few others in this race, and one of those is Cuba. I think he's really well at the weights. Nash on in the saddle, looks to get a really good run on the speed. As long as Archidemus doesn't bother it too much, it should be able to lead them up and hopefully dictate terms well enough. I think coming back from a run at Caulfield on Guineas Day 2 weeks ago, and obviously Melbourne way of going, comes back to the Sydney way of going. I mean, if you have a look at its run 2 starts back, it was only just narrowly beaten by Probabile, and Probabille's a superstar, went on to win an Epsom. It's now going around as one of the favourites, $9 shot in the Cox Plate. So for me, I think that's the strongest form. I can't really see how you could take Creaderis, as good as it has been, a horse that's not really beaten a whole lot. I mean, all due respect, sorry, to horses like Zakat, and finished a third behind Academy and Ice Bath. That's nothing compared to the form that Cuba's got behind Probabile from 2 starts back. And prior to that, Cuba won, that was its first up run. And then obviously last start went and contested a good race, beaten by Windstorm, who obviously is flying down here in Melbourne, and faced us, and just never really seemed to look too comfortable. Just ran a bit too quick on that occasion there. So you can forgive that for, going the Melbourne way of going. Coming back to Sydney, I can expect a much better performance. If it runs like it did 2 starts back, it'll win this race for sure at the $8.50. So I'm making a good case for it on top. Ahead of Creaderis, who, like I said, he's a very good horse on the rise, and I'm really excited to see how much further improvement he can do. He needs to tick off a race like this though, because if he's going to get to that sort of elite level that perhaps he's shown that he could do, he's going to have to be winning a race like this. And it goes in for second. Now, look, Ranier goes in for third. He's in terrific form and he's been flying. He's got to carry 62 kilos. That's the only thing I don't like about him in this race. A lot of weight to carry. Can't think of the last time he's carried this type of weight. He's usually sort of around that, sort of 56, 57, 58 type of kilo. It's a big step up to the 62 kilos for him. But he does have the right form lines. Obviously, a third last time out behind Wild Planet. Funstar reads excellent. Wild Planet came out and won last week at Caulfield in a group race there. And Funstar obviously has been in terrific form, finished second in the Epsom as well, and is one of the favourites for the Golden Eagle next week. So Rani has definitely got to have good claims at the $9. If it can handle the weight, it should be right in the finish. But it's just that little bit of a query of the weights. But you do get $9 to find out, I suppose. And then in for fourth, I do have number 3, Arcademus, who, look, he doesn't tend to run his best race here at Randwick, it's fair to say. He's had 6 starts at the track, but no wins, no placings. But I really liked his first up effort. He's not a usual first up performer. He was in that same race as Cuba, and he did beat him home. Now, he obviously finished third in that race, but on Windstorm and Faceos. So I can make some argument that, the prices are probably fair. My only sort of thought is that I think the Cuba would derive a lot of benefit coming back to Randwick and might be able to turn those tables on Arcademus. That's just my only sort of little thought there. And obviously, Nash jumping into the saddle of Cuba is obviously another big positive for it. But look, Arcademus can run well as well. And Royal Celebration probably not worth not mentioning either. I think this horse can run a good race first up. Usually isn't the greatest first up performer, does run really well here at Randwick, and particularly over the 1400 metres, so wouldn't surprise me if it can win first up as well. But recap the numbers for me. Number 4, Cuba, goes on top for me, ahead of number 8, Creaderis in second. In for third, I've got number 1, Rania. Then in for fourth, I've got number 3, Arcademus. Move on to race number 5 now in the program. We've got the Tats Club Cup over the 2,400 metres, and look, tough race this one for me. I think that Knight's Order will lead them up. Naval Warfare probably right there or thereabouts as well. I think Tension Run, Rondinella, they'll probably just sit not far off the pace here, and I think we should be able to get just a solid gallop without anything being too crazy. From what it looks like on the speed map. Look, I'm keen to go with the Tension Run here. I think this horse is really good odds at the $9. We're going to forgive its last start performance in the Group 1. That, of course, was the Metrop. Was finished last on that occasion. Looked to be sort of pulling up towards the end. But if you go back to the Newcastle Cup run behind Mugger 2 and Hush Rider, I think that's the right type of form for this. Mugger 2 obviously going into a Cox Plate. Hush Rider going into a Moonee Valley Gold Cup tomorrow. Obviously both terrific races and better than what this is here. And if Attention Run can run like it did in the 2 starts back, I think it'll be winning this race here. So it's my top selection at the $9. Ahead of number 4, Juke Honor. He bounced back to form last time out. He has obviously, and I know that one of you in the comments, you'll know exactly who you are, that always been a big rap for him. And he did have that big bounce back performance last start. He was impressive, and it was a good run. Obviously, he comes around the favourite this time around at $4.50, but it makes him a little bit harder to bet on, I suppose. But you got to say that, yep, he bounced back to form and he could definitely win this race here. So he goes for second. In for third, I've got number 2, Rondinella, who I do think that she can bounce back to a bit of form here, stepping out to the 2,400 metres again, but she hasn't won in a long, long time, so it's hard to take her for the win. Grey Lion obviously won last start. He was really good winning at Doomben, but again, he's not a horse that wins out of turn, but hopefully he can drive some benefit out of that first up run and won well again. But look, for me, all things point to number 5, Attention Run. For me, I find it extremely hard to beat in this race, ahead of number 4, Juke Honor in for second. In for third, number 2, Rondinella. Then in for fourth, number 1, Grey Lion. Look, I've taken on Girl Tuesday because she's obviously got a stack of form, a stack of ability, and she ran really well in the Metrop. So, I can't disgrace that. She ran terrific on that occasion. If she can run like that again, she's good chance of winning tomorrow. But she just doesn't win out of turn. She's just been one of those horses that early on in her career, she promised a lot. She has not really delivered on that ever since. And just for me, she's so hard to take at the $4.50 when she doesn't show up and perform at her best very often. So, as good as she ran last time out, I don't know if I could trust her to run like that again, which is why I can't put her as a sort of genuine winning chance at the $4.50. And number 7, Scarlet Dream as well, probably will really appreciate getting out to the 2,400 metres as well. But for me, there's a couple others ahead of it, especially when it's rated at the $6.50. Move on to race number 6 in the program now. We've got the Bondi Stakes, obviously the feature of the program, race of the program for the 3-year-olds for $1 million. I think Eliza Bill and Peltz will be the 2 leaders here. I don't think anything else will contest it, so they should be able to lead them up and dictate the pace of the race with Prime Star and Street Dancer. Probably not too far away from the speed and Real Peace. And maybe Acrophobic. I know that John O'Shea spoke to SEN Tractor in the week and reported on it that he does think that this horse won't actually be that far back this time around. He's hoping that he'll be able to roll up from that inside barrier if he jumps out well and gets up in behind the speed. If he can do that, I think he can win. I think he could turn the tables on Peltzer. I think the 4th up now. He's obviously had the 3 runs so far. He's going to be rock hard fit. And I just think he could turn the tables on Peltzer and Prime Star from last start. I mean, I'm having a look here. So Prime Star goes up half a kilo. Peltzer goes up half a kilo. And Acrophobic also goes up a half a kilo. So they're all level at the weights this time around. But I just think that Acrophobic getting that better run inside, just in behind the speed, could see it go much closer. It was a long way back last time out. It was towards the rear of the field. And just sort of, he charged home and he almost got over the top of him on that occasion, but he just, couldn't quite. But stepping out to the mile will really suit him. And I know John O'Shea said this has been his target race for this preparation, which I do like. Whereas, for example, I think that Peltz's target races were you can argue the Golden Rose, the Run to the Rose, and even last start. So I just think he's coming towards the end of his prep, whereas Acrophobic's about to peak, and I think that will work in Acrophobic's favour. So he goes on top for me, ahead of number 1, Peltzer for second, who, like I said, has been terrific, and he obviously won well last time out. Just narrowly held off Prime Star by half a length, but I think he can run well again, stepping back out to the mile. Once again, and I think that he'll be running a good race once again. He goes in for second at $2.50. In for third, number 2, Prime Star, who was terrific in that race as well. I think he'll also be well in the finish. And look at the horse that I think that can probably make a little bit of ground on some of these is probably Namazu for the James Cummings stable. Obviously, won last start, beating much better at Canterbury. I liked that performance. I think that extra 50 metres is going to suit his horse nicely, and just it could be maybe the one that really shows the sharp improvement to knock some of these off. And Street Dancers had the one bad run last time out, over 2,000 metres, and that was in a Group 1 race behind Montefiore and Ryan's Roar, of course, a spring champion. And prior to that, over the 1,800 metres, was running some good races. Second to Love Tap reads really well from Newcastle, and beating Reaching at Rose Hill, and then the start prior winning at Newcastle. Beating Reaching also reads quite nice for a race like this. So wouldn't surprise me dropping back to the mile if Street Dance can run a much better race. It was a tough run for it last time out. It's had every right to sort of drop out of the race for me. So I could completely forgive run. And $26 probably isn't the worst chance either. A bit of a knockout odds if you like to play wide in races. But look, I do think that number 3, Acrophobic, can win this. I think that it's been targeted for this race, and I'm going to trust that, and it looks to get the perfect run of the race. So it goes on top for me. Head of number 1, Peltzer, in for second. In for third, I've got number 2, Prime Star. Then in for fourth, number 5, Namazu. Moving on to race number 7 now. It's the Daily Preston Division, over 1,200 metres for the mares. It looks like a pretty nice race, this one here. I think the Positive Peace and Sweet Deal will lead them up, but I don't really see too many others challenging. I think Blazing Myths and Seasons will probably roll forward. I don't know if they'll go and try and take on the leagues. I think that Positive Peace and Sweet Deal have the barrier positions and also the right runs in the race to sort of get up towards the pace and lead them up. And I do think that as such, a Sweet Deal will be hard to beat, especially from that inside barrier. She's really drawn a couple of wide barriers and had some tough runs so far as preparation. But if she can bounce back to what she did first up, I think she'll be hard to beat here. Obviously, a step down in grade for her, and I think she's going to really appreciate that. Run a good race at the $7. So she goes on top for me as a clear on top pick. Ahead of number 9, Ashrani, who comes in this race second up after finishing only 0.2 of length off a Theory last time. Now, Theory's at $5 and Ashrani's at $10. Now, let me try and tell you why that's probably incorrect for me. Ashrani goes down 2 kilos, whereas the Theory goes down just the 1. So get that 1 kilo swing in the favour of Ashrani. Ashrani was first up, but Theory was having its 4th run in the campaign, so I can make a good case that Ashrani will have derive a lot of benefit from that and run much better. Now, the only little query I do have is to where these two will be in the run. Ashrani could be on the inside back, whereas Theory will be could be around midfield or just towards the rear, but on the outside and having that chance to get out and wind up. So the run will probably favour a Theory a little bit better, but if Ashrani gets some bit of luck off that inside barrier from barrier number 2 and on that inside running row where I predict that she'll be getting the better of a Theory this time around, I believe. So she goes in for second, Theory goes in for third, then in for fourth, number 6, Wonder Bar, who never seems to run a bad race. You can't really leave it out of a top four because she's just a ripping mare and she's really good to back each way. So good each way option. Jen Rules, obviously, look, I've left her out, but I make a good case for her. She has been terrific in her 2 starts so far this preparation. Obviously, her second to Hawkbury on her reads well, who Hawkbury on her was just ran off her feet, but she did beat home. She was sort of finished right alongside Nature Strip first up, so you've got to give a bit of respect to that in the Everest last start. Sorry, not first up, but then she came out last time out, Generals, and was flying home from the back to finish behind Subpoena and Emerald. So she definitely also has a bit of a claim as well in this race. And positive piece, I've been trying to make a case each time for him. He's not in my top. She's not in my top 4, but she obviously can run a much better race. I think with the fact that there's going to be a lot of speed drawn, she'll get every opportunity. She has had a couple of unlucky runs this preparation. I think she could bounce back. But Sweet Deal's the clear on top for me. I think it's going to be really hard to beat. Ahead of number 9, Asherani, in for second. In for third, I've got number 8, A Theory. Then in for fourth, number 6, Wonderbar. Moving on to race number 8 in the program, we've got the Southern Cross over the 8 at 1200 metres, benchmark 88 race here. Looking at the speed map for this one, I expect there'll be a decent amount of pace in this. I think Outrageous and Hilo will be rolling towards the speed. Hilo dropped back last time, and I hope that they're much more prominent off that inside barrier, try to get it out and get as close to the lead as possible. I think Edison might actually take it up from barrier number 4. That's how I see it, and I think that Mount Harob, are horrible from the outside barrier, might also sort of push towards the pace. But I think this is a really good race for Hilo. Really well drawn on that inside barrier. I loved her run last time. I loved his run last time out. He flew home behind Ethereum and Asherani, which will get a good guide on that form of the race prior to this one. And if he had any bit more luck in running, I think he would be really hard to beat there. I think I mentioned last time out when I tipped him on top in that Randwick race that the Star Prize first up run behind for Choose reads really well. Obviously, she ran pretty good, just narrowly beaten by California Zimbo last week on Caulfield Cup Day. And for me, that's the right sort of form read for me, and I think she's going to be really hard to beat that inside barrier. Pandemic, probably just the pace of the race might just sort of go against him here, but he did run well first up behind Villamai and California Zimbo, which is a great form line. Obviously, California Zimbo has since come out and won a Caulfield group race down there, so that reads well. Villamai, obviously, she's a very smart horse as well on her day. So Pandemic, he can definitely run well, and he's not going to be a good home bet for a lot of people because that's what we're facing at the moment. So I just think that I just don't know if the pace can be quite right for him. I think he'll run home well because he's got a lot of natural ability, but just not sure if the pace will be quite strong enough for him to come over the top and win, especially when High is going to be probably right up behind the speed from barrier number 1 and should be able to get a real cheap run of the race. So Pandemic goes in for second. In the third, I've got number 12, Superior, who I did like this horse's first up performance, finishing fourth behind Blazing Miss and Plaquette. Think he could run better second up, which he's got terrific second up form of 1 win and 3 placings from 4 starts second up. So I think he can run well, especially down the weights. And the other horse that I thought's got a really good chance of big each way odds. It's a massive knockout chance at that as well. It's number 2, Mr. Marathon Man. First up with the new trainer. He's always shown a lot of ability, this horse. He's not a good fresh horse. That 5 starts for just for no wins and no placings. But sometimes they go to the new trainer and they can really fire first up. And I just think that at $81, he's a horse that's got better form. He's got more talent than what that price suggests. If he can show up close to his best, even if it's not quite his best, even if it's sort of 70-80% of his best, he could run a big race in this. He's obviously going to carry 61 first up. He gets the 3 kilo claim by Tom Sherry, so he actually comes into the weights at 58, which I think is really good for this type of race. So $81, he's probably worth a little bit of an each way play at it. Other chance the race look through the cracks. If it didn't have such a bad barrier, I'd probably give it a good push. This horse, obviously, provincial championship winner, is a very good horse in its own right, and I think it'll be in for a good preparation. It's only just getting started this prep. Through the cracks, think it can be running well enough in this. And obviously, Outrageous can often pop up with a good first up performance. Also, it wouldn't just surprise me if this horse runs well. And Oxford Tycoon won really well last time out. Wouldn't surprise me if it runs a decent race either. But look, I'm very keen on number 5 Highlights. One of my better bets of the program for me. Just think it's going to be extremely hard to beat from that inside barrier. In for second, number 6 Pandemic. In for third, I've got number 12 Superior. And then in for fourth, at a bit of each way price, good value is number 2 Mr. Marathon Man. Moving on to race number 9, the program now. Benchmark 78 over the 600 metres. Tough race to finish off the program here, I think. I think there's going to be a fair bit of pace, though. I think Petronius, Navy Cross, Ulasaba, Vinciano, they'll all be up towards the pace, vying for the speed. And they might set a decent tempo because a few of these do like to really roll along and get into a good rhythm. And I think they could set it up nice for the others. But in saying that, I am keen to go with number 4, Navy Cross, the Gay Water Agent Bot runner with Tim Clark in the saddle. Now, this horse was obviously pretty well beaten by Fortress Command last time, and Petronius, who meets both of them here again. But I just think that this time around, second up out to the mile, it's going to run a better race. I'm hoping that it's left alone a little bit in the pace, and which I think there will be a genuine tempo, which won't help it. But I just think that stepping out of the miles, we're going to see a much improved performance, especially second up as well. This horse got 3 starts for a win and a placing second up. It's had 3 starts at the mile for two wins and a placing. So I really like its chances here tomorrow, second up at the $17. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it can just be left on a little bit in the speed and it'll be really hard to beat. So it goes on top for me. Ahead of number 11, Ice Bath, who's been really unlucky in its runs, but it comes right down the weights here. Going to only have to carry 54.5 kilos with Tom Sherry's 3 kilo claim. It's going to be hard to beat, I think. So it goes for second, but I do think that she's had plenty. She's had plenty of chances so far this preparation and hasn't got the job done. So $3.30 is probably rock bottom about it, but I do see she's got a very good chance. Petronius, he'll be right there in the finish as well down the weights. I think he'll run a good race at the $7. So he goes in for third, and then for fourth, I've got number 3, Fortress Command, who, if it can overcome that wide barrier and find a slot, I think it'll be running well like it did last time out as well. And Vegas Jewel, probably couldn't give her any disrespect. I think she could run a good race in this as well. Vinciano's hit a bit of form, obviously stepping up in grade, but has been in good winning form, and get the idea. I think could bounce back after its last start disappointment over the 2,000 metres, stepping back to the mile. But recap the numbers for me. I'm keen on number 4, Navy Cross, at the $17. I think it's a very good price for me to take each way. Really an improving horse that I really rated last preparation, particularly when it went up towards Queensland. I thought that it's going to be a horse that could, in time, would pick off a really decent race. I think it's a bit of a stay in the making, and I think keen to see what he can do here tomorrow over the 600 metres. So he goes on top for me. Ahead of the favourite, number 11, Ice Bath, for second, and for third, number 12, Petronius, and then for fourth, I've got number 3, Fortress Command. Now, as for the best bets of the program, so I'm going with race number 8, and it is going to be number 5, Hilo. It's one of my best bets of the program. I think this horse can be extremely hard to beat. Just looks to get the perfect run from that inside barrier. It was really unlucky not to win last time out. Knocking on the door for victory. I think tomorrow it'll be able to get the job done. So it goes on top as my best bet of the program. And second best bet comes in race number 6, the Bondi Stakes. It's number 3, Acrophobic, at the $4.60. Just, again, similarly to Bondi, it looks like it's going to get the perfect run of the race. It's been targeted towards this race. And I think with that sort of slight change in the fact that he's going to be closer to the speed, he might be able to turn the tables here in comparison to his rivals. So he is one of my other best bets of the program. Now, as for best values, I'm going to go with race number 5, number 5, Attention Run. I think it's got a good chance in a race that's got a lot of horses that don't win out of turn. And obviously, I just think that if it can bounce back to its run in the Newcastle Cup, it could be winning this. And I think at $9.50, it's definitely at $9, it's definitely worth a bit of a chance each way. The other one I didn't mind at a good price. I'm really keen to go with number 4, Cuba, but I'm going to go in the Cuba. So race number. Oh no, it wasn't. Sorry, my apologies. Race number 7. Yeah, race number 7, number 2, Sweet Deal, is one of my other best value bets of the program. But look, I could also make a very strong case for race number 4, and it is number 4, Cuba. I think he'll be running a good race, and obviously the final race of the card, I think Navy Cross will have the odds as well. But I'm going to stick with Sweet Deal as one of my other best value bets of the program. Now, if you're looking to play on my Quaddie tomorrow, I will drop that down below in the description, so go and check that one out if you'd like to follow that along. But if not, thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it once again. Obviously, like I said, if you haven't already checked out the Mooney Valley video, go and check that out right after this, and leave your comments down below. Thank you for once again for all your support. Hopefully you find plenty of winners tomorrow and you enjoy the terrific racing ahead of us tomorrow.